Greetings and salutations, everybody. Trying a little something new today. I'm going to be laminating a couple sheets. And I know that for some people, the ASMR part of things that they enjoy are like sounds that people are making and like things that they're doing. So I was like, hey, laminating things is sounds. So I don't know. I'm just having fun because again, it's fun to body double when I'm working on these little projects. So yes, my delightful and incredible husband has a little at-home laminator. Wait, am I putting it? Does it go this way? Nope, it goes this way. That's explanatory. So yeah, so I'm laminating a few little pages, which I'm then going to cut out. Partly because I was like, oh, if I do this while I'm having one of my little rambling chats, then it'll be more friendly than if I'm doing this just in the immortal words of Baloo from Jungle Book 2. Meanwhile, what on earth am I laminating, you may ask? So there is a little sorting game called, oh, maybe I should be doing this online. I didn't think of that. It can't be incredibly thrilling to be just watching that go through. Okay. I was just, hi, hello, welcome. And it's called, well, there's different ones. There's different ones where you sort little slices of cake. And I love it. And my husband thinks I am cute and silly. So yes, you know, I don't need this like precisely framed inside here because I'm going to be cutting these up, but at the same time I like the practice of precise positioning in laminating because I do this at work sometimes too. We shall not speak of work. Here we go. Nope, that's not quite. It's okay if it's not precise. Meanwhile, I need to do this one next because it's torn. So yeah, so it's these little cakes that you, I'll make sure to post the name and maybe if it's possible, like the link or something to this game, because I just suddenly realized like, oh, maybe these, you know, these images and whatever belong to this nice little game company that does this, so don't want to mess with that. But yeah, so I like playing this little game. It's fun because I specifically like playing it while I'm listening to little different ASMR stuff, whether it's the story ones or the like rambly ones. It's fun to sort these little cakes and cake slices rather, and then while I'm listening, because I have trouble I have trouble listening to stuff if I'm not doing anything, but if I'm, it depends on what I'm doing, whether or not I'll be able to focus on what I'm listening to, because if what I'm doing is a bit too involved, then I will not be able to, oh, I don't have my timepiece. That's very important. Where are you, my friend? Yes, here we go, here we go. I need to know how long I've been chatting for. I'm also trying out a little bit of a new approach to my little setup space to kind of be able to make it a little bit more replicatable. So I'm like, okay, my tripod's like against these edges of the table, and then the mat is positioned here with the tripod. I grant you, my little setup probably leaves somewhat to be desired, but it's working for me. So I'm just, you know, I'm just chilling with it. We just work here. Okay, 1 second. The world might go a little bit. Whoa. Okay, there we go. Because the laminator plug was underneath the tripod leg. So again, because I've got this like dead space over here, I'm like, I'll put my little cup of tea right there. Oh, here. I'll need those in a second. I'll put my water bottle there too. This is a nice little water bottle. But be warned, it drips. I found it on Amazon where I was like, cute water bottles with flowers. And it was like, oh, here you go. But here's the thing. It does not seal particularly well. We enjoy it. Nevertheless, we certainly forgive it, but we don't necessarily like that it doesn't seal very well. Not very dependable. But anyway, it has roses on it. Also, just be forewarned, the label tends to peel off. This is, I've had it like 3 or 4 months, and it says it's dishwasher safe, so this is it going in the dishwasher, and the stickers are kind of peeling. So as far as a review goes for how pretty it looks, delightful. As long as a review for drinkability, great. I love the chug tops. But as long as a review for like if you want the little designs to stay on the drinking thing, the water bottle that you bought, because of the designs on it, they're not that durable. And it leaks, which is not great. So I have my dandelion root tea here. I've got my water there, so kind of make that less dead space. And now I'm cutting up these little cakes. Now, I'm going to explain why I'm cutting up these little cakes. And please let me know always if you would like to leave comments. That sounds delightful to me. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on things. And I would also love to hear people's preferences and opinions. I will absolutely take all the comments into consideration. Well, I will protect my brain space by if I'm sure that there wouldn't be, but if there happens to be any comments that were a little bit, well, rude. It's quite possible that some little rude person stumbled on here amongst the happy little goblin friends that I'm assuming would be. Again, I don't really know much about like what I'm attempting to do with this channel. I'm just hoping to be a friend, if you need a friend. Because that's what's happened with some of the ASMR stuff for me. When I'm feeling lonely, or when I'm, wanting to do something very, very chill, but that still involves stories and whatnot. Like, sometimes I am just too sensorily overloaded to watch a movie or something. And sometimes I love reading books and, webcomics and everything, but sometimes it's just not quite. It's like I want the more, like I want the movie feel with like kind of, the drama and the voices. And I know that there are book read alouds, but I don't have great personal context for those, because when I was young, my mom would try kind of getting us invested in those, and I had so much trouble focusing. I could not just sit there, and I had so much trouble focusing on what was going on, and I didn't know that, if you, just have a little something to do with your hands that's not incredibly brain consuming, then that can help you focus on what you're doing. And so she'd like have us listening to them, either just listening to them, or she'd have us doing something that like I didn't necessarily want to do while we were listening to them, that was like handiwork or whatever. So didn't have a ton of great like, oh yes, I want to listen to audiobooks growing up. So I still have this little bit of like, I don't know that I want to do that. Associated with them? Associations, that's what I was looking for. But audiobooks are great, and I hear so much good about them. And so, I don't know. At some point, I'd like to kind of get into them more. But for now, I'm just doing the little ASMR, little drama roleplay things, and they're so much fun. And like I've said before, I also like the ones where they're just kind of chatting, about different things. And I was like, a while back, I was like, oh my gosh, I can use this both for, when I'm feeling kind of lonely, or, I'm feeling lonely, but too tired or overstimulated to, real people. And or just as, just a nice little like, oh, like I've got a friend there. Well, if it was a real person, it would be more distracting. But, I can go do whatever I want or need to do, and I've got a little friend with me, chatting about whatever they're chatting about. It's great. I like a lot of the ones that are very positive affirmations, very very encouraging, very supportive. I found there's a lot of like relationship ones that are really sweet, And so it's nice because my husband and I kind of have oppositional work schedules. So, like, I mean, we see each other, but there's a fair amount of the time that I'm by myself alone at home, which totally works because I am an introvert and I have a fair amount of sensory sensitivities. So it totally works for me as far as like de-stressing and kind of decompressing and all that good stuff. Is that the word I want? Meanwhile, it does mean that sometimes I am a little lonely for my boo. And so there's these little relationship ones where, you know, and they'll be like, you know, boyfriend or whatever, but it's like I just, you know, mentally insert hubby in there. And I'll just be like, oh, that's my husband. And I'll just pretend that it's, you know, him talking to me or whatever. And it's so much fun. So yeah, I was telling him about it and he's like, what? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, that works. Most of the ones I like are ones that are a little similar to his voice, tone and timbre. Also, I've noticed, which I didn't realize, I just was like naturally kind of like, there are some that, you know, sure, yeah, I'm sure that's a nice voice for whoever, but I don't necessarily, a lot of the like very deep ones are like, yeah, let's talk. I'm like, hi, that's cool for you, but I'm good. Because my husband has more like a medium-pitched voice, I'd say, and also he and I are both fairly animated little humans, and so ones that don't have like a ton of expression in them, one I don't personally find. Like, again, sometimes that's what people need, you know, to help with that, you know, kind of zoning in and getting relief from the stress of the days or whatever. But I tend to like ones that are medium to higher pitch, probably medium pitched to a little bit tired higher, and then a little bit more animated, and just ones that are really sweet and gentle. Like there's all different kinds of relationship ones being represented out there, which is fabulous, but some of them are scary and or some of them are toxic, and I'm like, oh, okay, if that works for you, you know. Meanwhile, I thought it'd be fun to try my hand at doing some of the rambly ones, because as someone who is neurospicy, it can be nice to have the option for a sort of, you know, portable, low energy friend option. And it can be fun for me to listen to the ones of other people who are neurospicy, because it's like, I vibe with it, folks. I vibe with it. Like, oh, you want to switch channels in the middle of conversation? Oh my gosh, let's do that. I do that all the time already, baby. Let's go. And so, okay, that one's already kind of cut out. Yeah, if anybody, you know, comes across these little videos and has any suggestions, preferences, you know, whatever, please feel very welcome to drop them in the comments. As I was saying, I'm a very sensitive soul, so I also am someone who's working through, like, for a lot of years being in relationships with people that were a little more, there's constructive criticism, there's positive, like positive affirmation, positive feedback, whatever it is when you're teaching someone and you're like, oh, by the way, you're doing great, you could do this also, that would be better, but like, meanwhile, you as you are, you're doing good, you know. I do much better with that kind of feedback, and so that's why I'm saying, like, I will give consideration to the things shared in the comments, if there are any comments. Like, maybe that's just the most in the comments, that could be just the most what's it called, where you're just like, oh, this is, you know, so many comments are gonna happen. Not necessarily, like, but if even, you know, if there's a couple people, or not at all, please don't feel like you need to or anything. Also, I've only been up for like a couple hours, so I think I'm still very, sometimes the more tired or the more groggy I am, the more ADHD-ing I am, so I might be bouncing all over the place more than I think I am. But anyway, please, also the neurospicy urge to prevent yourself from being misunderstood, especially in a way that might be hurtful to the person that you're communicating with. So anywho, my little goblin friends, welcome, 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 whomever you are. if you ever at any point want to leave a comment or something, that is incredibly welcomed, and I would love to hear your feedback, your thoughts, suggestions, preferences. I will consider it all and, see what I can do. I don't know if I'd be able to implement a bunch of different things, but, who knows? I'd love people's thoughts. As far as preferences both for topics to talk about, content, whether, this kind of thing is fun, just little random crafty things. Meanwhile, the reason that I'm cutting these cakes out is because, okay, I don't mean for every video of these me to be like releasing a new diagnosis that I have, but by the way, I also have obsessive compulsive disorder. More recently diagnosed with that one, so that's one, excellent to know, very explanatory, and two, the result of like many years of knowing what it was and knowing that I was obsessive compulsive in some way, that I had obsessive compulsive symptoms, that I was on the spectrum of it, as it were, and then slowly coming to go, I think actually I might have the full-on disorder. I have no idea. So I did a lot more studying, and finally, after like 2 years of really studying it more and looking into like obsessive compulsive support communities and really resonating with these things that were posted on these little forums and whatever, I was like, hi therapist, let's talk about this. And we already knew that I had obsessive compulsive tendencies. And then we did the test and it was like, oh yeah, no, definitely. You have moderate to severe obsessive compulsive disorder, which is, not that bad. There's also, you don't have obsessive compulsive disorder. There's mild, moderate, severe, and then there's extreme. And extreme is the one where like, if people dealing with that, like, just my heart is sending all the good vibes and all the healing everything's, because that's usually where like it becomes debilitating to the point of like having trouble, like it's like extreme agoraphobia or something where like it's hard to like leave your house, leave your safe space, right? So I have moderate to severe, where it fluctuates depending on how things are kind of going, and most of mine is around the existential type of obsessive compulsive disorders, where a lot of it's in the brain. And because here's the interesting thing, obsessive compulsive disorder is very poorly represented in media, by the way, and it is also a very like there's just a bare little pie slice of it that is so poorly represented in media, right? So there's a lot about obsessive compulsive disorder that I think would be great for the world to know more of, and I'll probably talk about that more on this channel, but I do want to finish talking about these cakes, because tangent finishing, it's lovely. So I like order. To whatever extent, most human brains find a certain amount of discomfort in uncertainty and in disorder. People with obsessive compulsive disorder are extra. There's an extra amount of discomfort as far as disorderliness and uncertainty goes, and their brains obsess about this and all that fun stuff, which leads to compulsions to try and get rid of the uncertainty, of the discomfort, right? And so these compulsions can be anything from I feel because I do, ever since COVID happened, I feel great discomfort about the uncertainty of touching things in high touch areas, like at work, any door handle, right? So I carry hand sanitizer around in my pocket, and hand sanitize when I touch things that other people are likely to have touched. And the compulsiveness of doing that ebbs and flows. And so, yeah, that's a whole thing for me. And yes, COVID happened 5 years ago. And yes, I only recently COVID happened 5 years ago. I've been carrying hand sanitizer almost religiously in my pocket since then, hand sanitizing myself, my hands, after like touching the barest brush of anything that anyone else has touched. And yes, I only recently got diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. We live in a world. So, there's so much overlap in the Venn diagrams of different mental illnesses and mental disorders that it is very hard as both, the patient, as practitioners, to recognize, always what's going on. Okay, here, guys, I'm stressing. Is this brown or is this white? This is now dark brown. We're gonna roll with that. I'm trying to separate this bit into colors, which really doesn't matter because, anyway, I'm explaining the cakes. So, do I have... Yes, I have obsessive compulsive disorder. And one of my things that causes me, to whatever level, some discomfort is perceived disorderliness. I say perceived because I also have ADHD. So that means that sometimes what is organized and makes sense for me, somebody else would consider incredibly disorganized and making no sense. So that's why I say perceived. See, is this pink or is this white? When it's like this is more, well, this could also be green. Okay. Pink. Perceived disorderliness can be a bit of a stress. Light brown, yellow, light brown. Purplish. Can be something that brings me discomfort. So I love organizing. I love sorting. Pattern recognition is one of my strengths. Love that sort of thing. Depending on what it is we're organizing. I don't necessarily love paperwork. Depends on the kind of paperwork. It's very associative for me. Meanwhile, I think humans are just incredibly associative. So anyway, so that's kind of sort of turquoisey. See, I'm like, wait a second. Now, it gets to a point where it's like, oh, I perceive that this is now disordered in my brain, and now I need, that was a, well, see, that could be dark brown. But the top is more white. Yeah, dark brown. I'll go through these stacks. So I play this little game called Cake Sort. It's a lovely little game. You sort these little cake slices, and it's just, so much fun. And here's the thing. There's lots of little cakes that you can unlock via watching advertisements and via just playing the game. And then there's cakes that you can unlock via paying money, and then there's ones that you can unlock via paying oodles of money. So, you can also pay for an option on it to, yellow? I don't know. See, why is that to me blue? And that's to me yellow. But then, like, this and my little stack of black ones, I'm like, but I don't know, somehow this resonates more with that to me than this resonates with that. And then questioning the decisions that I have made in the cause of organizing things, that's probably the anxiety. Or the obsessing, who knows. Let's see, some of that doesn't match. Anyway, I'll do that one later. Meanwhile, there's an option on this game where you can pay, oh no, that's definitely not yellow. Guess what? Brown. Who's got the dark brown cake? Put it there for now. Leave comments about whether or not you think your opinions on how I'm sorting these. I would honestly be super cool with that. Give me your thoughts. I want them. I'm trying to learn ASL. Maybe we'll get there at some point. I only know un poquito. I want to learn Spanish, but mi español es muy malo. And I'm also trying to learn French because my husband speaks French, and non parle français. That's probably not how you say that. Meanwhile, reddish, white, I don't know. That was yellow. It's confusing. Oh, see, here we go. Green, yellow, green, yellow. I feel like green. I guess the more that the top is tends to be my thoughts on the matter. I will finish this sentence. There is an option on this game, one of those little subscribe things where you can pay to however much, this one's like however much a week, and you don't have ads in the game and whatever. And I was like, nah, fam, I'm good. Like, I'm Gucci, fam, I'm good. I don't feel a need for this. But that is a way, oh no, that was pink. That is a way of, supporting the little game developers and everything. And so, I mean little as like a friendly diminutive, not like patronizing. Oh, and also it wasn't like this as patronizing. I meant like patting someone's head as patronizing. This, I think, is a cute gesture. Orange. I don't think there've been any orange so far. Well, there's ones that like could be orange. Like that could be orange. Interesting. The plot thickens. So anyway, because some of the games were ones where I was like, or some of the cakes in this game were ones where I was like, that's a cute cake to play with. And some of them like match different little collections, because as you can see, there's many ways to sort these, because there's multiple of them that look like that. And so now we come to the crux of what I'm doing here and why I created this. I ended up collecting all of the cakes that you could via gameplay. I bought the cakes that you could buy that were a little cheaper and that I wanted, because there were some that I was like, I don't love that design. I mean, they're all cute and whatever, but like, personal preferences. And so I think I did, over a period of time, I spent like $50, which is a lot to spend on a virtual something, but it's also like the first time I have ever bought something virtually purely for the aesthetics of a game I was playing. And since I play this game like literally every day, I was like, this is okay. Also, I don't have to justify my wants and the purchases I make according to them, as long as, we're still doing okay in the bank account, and we are. And also my husband and I, I'm in charge of finances, and I separate it so that we both get discretionary funds every week, and we get to do whatever we want with those. Great way of budgeting, by the way, for budgeting as a couple. So yeah, I spent some monies. I got more cakes, and I did all these little events where you got more cakes, and I watched ads and I got more cakes, and so I got all these cakes. And so now the game's kind of on a pause as far as like the actual game. There's no more events. There's no more cakes to win via just playing their little they call it the infinity version, and like getting this amount of points. So now all that you can really do with the game is play their little board where you just cakes keep generating, and so you put this little plate with these slices on this part of the board, you put this plate with these little slices on this part of the board, and then here, and then 3 more little plates of cakes come up, and you're like, okay, cakes, slices on this little plate, match ones on that, so you put that next to that, and bloop, they separate, and it's so satisfying to watch people. And so now that little infinity board in this app is you can get I think it's 9,000, like 9,000 or 9,000 something points, and once you do that, it just resets the points. So my little thing is, and so they have all these little tools that you can use of smashing one of the cake plates when you need space, or like moving cake plates around once they've been put on the little table that represents the little gameplay board in the game, because you can't move it once you put a plate down on the little gameplay table board. You can't move it, folks. So my new way of playing this game that I have invented, because I like playing this game, and then like I had no more like, I didn't have any more like objectives in this game, and so I'm like, okay, I need something to kind of help me do objectives. So every time that I reach 9,000 points, I think it's 9,000 in the little infinity, and you get points every time that the cake slices create a full cake. There's 6 slices to each cake. And so every time that I reach 9,000 points and the points bar resets, I switch out the cakes, because you can choose which cakes you want to play, and you can choose, I think it's 6 cakes. It's 6 cakes that you play with at a time. So I've been having loads of fun tailoring this game to work for me. But as you can see, there's lots of cakes. And so there's lots of different ways to combine to decide that you're matching them, right? So I like to pick different themes for each new set of 6 cakes because it's fun for me. And also, like, if you pick mostly red ones, then it's a little harder because, like, you have to be paying attention. Oh, no, that's that red. It's fun for my brain. I have no idea. So there's 2 star cakes. So I like doing star cakes. But there's only 2, so I gotta find like ones to go with that. Well, this one has little dots, and then there was another one in here that had little dots. I just don't quite know where it was. Yep, that one has little dots. And then there's, oh, interesting, that one didn't end up, oh, maybe it's over here. Yes, I've played this game enough that I know pretty dang well what types of, is he here? Oh, that's so interesting. There's absolutely one that I'm not finding that I would have thought I put in the stacks I'm looking at. It's like a light brown with a little sparkle on it. Maybe I missed. So anyway, I took screenshots of all the cakes in my collection on this game. And oh, these were yellows. Oh, those are orange. Oh, these were the orange. See, I was struggling to keep where I was with this. It wasn't so much that there weren't plenty of cake combinations that I hadn't done yet, but I'm neurospicy, and so I like there to be a theme of the 6 cakes that I chose. So like I did colors for a while, I've done shapes, I've done decorations, because some of the decorations like have a similar-ish sort of, I've done little, oh, these ones have animals on them or whatever. So I've been having a jolly great time, and I also legitimately think I don't have one of the cakes, which is annoying, but also totally fine. So, oh, see, here's another one of these. So their little board for switching back and forth between what cakes you want to do is a great one. But like you can't retain, there's like multiple little pages of it, and I can't retain all that as I sort through. So I wanted to be able to see all of the cakes at the same time because there's loads of combinations I haven't done yet. And I want to like, and I, of course, I need 6 of each one. So like going through and finding, oh, see like these 2, that's, they're both got snowflakes, but, well, this one's holly and that one's a snowflake, but they both, have a similar looking design. Okay, can I find 6 that look similar enough to this design? Or like, these kind of go out, so, that could kind of work. So it's a fun puzzle thing for me. But it's hard to do it on my phone because I'll forget what I saw on the previous page. See, like these are both the cherry ones. And then there's one that's like they're all slices. And then like this one that's all swirly. This video will end soon. This is fun for me, but I really don't see how this would be necessarily fun for anybody else. Like, okay, these are both circles. And like, this one has flowers. This one has flowers. So these could be one. So as you can see, while there are plenty, if I want to do like yellow cakes or yellow cakes, orange cakes, or ones like with like brown cakes, pink cakes, black cakes, whatever. There's a bunch of them that I can like sort out to have 6 of them. But there's also ones, as you can see, like the stars or the dots or these, where I'm like, I want to find 6 that look similar enough in the theme. But it's hard to do that when I'm trying to retain all the information on all the pages. So yes, I screenshot pictures of the cakes. I copied them on to pages in Word, arranged them all to fit on only 4 pages in Word, because otherwise it would have been like 5 or 6. And then I laminated them, and then I cut them out, and I'm now going to play Mixy-Matchy with my cakes. You have to enjoy the ride, people. Some people in this world are just in their little sports cars, and some people in this world are in their Cadillacs or whatever, and whatever kinds of car, right? And then some of us in this world are just happy in our little mental jalopies, just do-ba-do-ba-do. What is the name of that little one where it's like do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do? That's not it. I can't think of like the tune that goes to. All I can think of is the little sound of do-ba-do. Anyway, so we're in these little jalopies just do-do-do-do-do. And like, it doesn't have the thing that I think is wonderful, and so we will end on something of an uplifting note, I hope. The thing that I think is wonderful to realize, to try and implement into my worldview, to try and keep on my radar so that I can live more according to this than the very critical self-dialogues that just are, playing. I feel like, people have like different radios in their head that play different radio stations. I feel like the fun thing about ADHD and other types of neurospicy is that multiple of those radios are playing at the same time. And you might be like, oh, well, that works, neurotypical people, that's too. And it's like, yeah, but are all the radios playing at the same time on different radio stations at high volume? Welcome to ADHD. So, trying to like combat the radios that are playing the negative self-dialogue radio stations, it's really wonderful to realize you can just be you and be weird and not have to explain yourself. If nobody's getting hurt, and please preferably if you're not hurting yourself, please let's not hurt ourselves. Like, who cares? Like if you're not hurting anyone, and if you're not hurting yourself, who cares? Have I spent what some would consider an inordinate amount of time on a very non-critical project? Yeah, but I wanted to do it. Was some of this probably rooted in my obsessive-compulsive tendencies? Yes, but if any of this was compulsion-related, nobody got hurt, and I objectively didn't get hurt. None of this led to ruminations of negative self-talk. None of this led to me be feeling compelled to do things that cause me emotional damage. Oh my gosh. Oh, he's hilarious. So this, like, objectively is a pretty innocuous activity, and it itched a happy little part of my brain. And so therefore, something I'm learning that my husband has been helping me come to understand is, why not? Did you know that wanting to do something that doesn't hurt anybody else or yourself is reason enough to do it? Did you know that not wanting to do something, the absence of which won't hurt anybody else or yourself, not wanting to do that is reason enough to not do it? Did you know this, folks? I didn't. This was like just revelatory for me when we had this conversation last summer. So it's been like a whole year of me like getting a little bit more and more comfortable with the discomfort that I felt at the idea. And so, yeah, part of that is you don't have to explain yourself. If something scratches an itchy little part of your brain that you can't really explain to other people, but it's satisfying for you and innocuous, why wouldn't you? The whole philosophy of absurdism. Absurdism versus nihilism. The philosophy of nihilism. Nothing matters, so why? Very depressing. It works as a life view for some people. Can't work for me. Versus absurdism, which is the realm of philosophy that I love. Absurdism. Nothing matters. So why not? And I do think some things matter, like not hurting people. Preferably not hurting yourself. I say preferably not hurting yourself because, free will. But also, please don't hurt yourself. I do think some things matter in this world. There's just, some core things. Don't take things from other people without their permission. It's called consent. Okay? The end. But I love the philosophy of absurdism. So, yeah, why not? Have fun. If we are the captains of our own vessels, then let's have a great ride. And so, yeah, sometimes I am just along for the ride. But when it's an innocuous detour that my brain is taking, and when it's just something that I think is going to be fun, and I have the time, the resources, and the brain space to do, and it's a nice little just handsy activity that's like chill and calming for me, why would I not do that? Why would I deprive myself of that just because I can't explain logically that it objectively benefited anyone else in the world? Personally, I think this objectively benefited me. But even if it didn't, it subjectively benefited me, which subjective information recorded over time becomes objective data, or data, whichever you prefer. So anywho, it is okay to be ourselves, my friends. It's okay to be ourselves. And I am still grasping all the implications of that. And it is much easier to say things like that confidently when I've had a nice little morning drinking dandelion root tea that is now cold, but dandelion root tea cold is actually still good. Please don't be too sad, tea aficionados of life. I'm very casual about these things. I've had a nice little morning chatting with my little goblin friends, doing sorting. I'm going to do some more sorting so I can figure out what 6 cakes are going to be the next on my little rotation of this silly little cake game that I enjoy playing. Silly being an adjective that I'm reclaiming. Silly does not need to be derogatory. Silly can be affectionate because, in my opinion, silly is very often charming. You are a delightful human being. Believe in the me that believes in you. I believe in you. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks for having fun cutting out cakes with me and for listening to I have been watching the clock. This was a pretty long ramble, but it's one that's very positive for me. A lot of the times it's very positive to say these things out loud as the person saying them because like you're trying to get it all in your head. And so I hope there was some measure of positivity in it for you because it helped reaffirm for me the truth that we can be ourselves shamelessly without explanation. Nobody's getting hurt. Preferably you're not getting hurt. Why not?